What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host that just ate a lot of Chinese food and I loved it, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. This story's called, I Can't Sell You This Animal. So this is a pretty long one, I think. There's quite a bit of backstory needed, and I'm not so good at writing, so please excuse my format. So just before Christmas, I got two little rats who are my absolute life. I spend more money on treats and toys for them than I do food for myself. They came from my local pet store, and it also happens to be where I go for most of their stuff. I made an effort to learn as much as I could about my animals before I got them, and carried this on after getting them. At this point, I know how to handle and deal with them more than the staff there do. They only get basic handling training, it's not their fault. So sometimes the staff ask me questions that can help them in the future. Mid-lockdown, I went in to grab some food and bedding for my two boys when I was pulled to the tank of rats with two boys in it. I had handled the boys already when they were little before the lockdown. That was about 8 weeks prior. Asked about the selling policies because they were getting too big for the tank and I felt really bad for them. After some time talking to the staff, the manager eventually let me adopt them because they trusted I could give them a loving home and the attention that they just won't get in the store. They are the most spoiled rats I ever saw. Since then, I've been in a lot, buying stuff and talking to the staff and getting to know them well. Due to the distancing restrictions, the animal area is barricaded off so customers can't get in there. One of the managers came up to me asking if I'd be able to have a look at a couple of the girls they have had as well since before the lockdown, because one of them seems aggressive and they don't know how to handle her or what to do. I take a look and quickly deduct that she is almost completely blind. I offer to come in and handle her whenever I can, and they agree that would be a good idea. I'd like to add that store policy restricts employees from handling animals outside of selling and feeding, which they hate as much as I do. After handling her and her sister for a while, I stood near the checkout chatting to the staff member on duty for a while. We'll call him Jay. In this time, maybe 5 minutes, there was a woman, we'll call her Karen, with a young boy, maybe 6, who started scoffing at us. I was wearing black jeans and a Rick and Morty print tee. Don't judge me, it was cheap. And the staff uniform is black cargo pants and a bright colored polo, usually green or blue, for all staff members. Jay and I share a glance that says, "Here we go." Jay, in the best customer service voice I have ever heard, says, "Hi, how can I help you today?"
My son wants a rabbit. He can't go and see them. Move the barricade so he can pick one.
I'm sorry, but I'll have to ask you to wait for my colleague to come back from her break so she can help you.
You can help us, can't you?
I apologize, but someone has to be at the register at all times. I can't leave. My colleague will be back in a minute to help you.
Well, why can't she help me?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Don't talk back to me! I saw you in there alone so you can help us.
Ma'am, she doesn't work here.
Then why can she go in and I can't?
She's a trusted customer who knows how to handle our rats. She was simply looking in on them as one of them seemed to be blind. She confirmed that for us.
This is disgusting. Why are you allowing one customer in but not me? My poor baby just wants a rabbit to play with. Is that too hard for you to understand?
As I said, my colleague will be back soon to help you. Feel free to look from the barrier. Karen, looking at me.
You obviously work here. Why else would you be talking to the staff? Now move the barrier so my son can look at the bunnies.
Seriously, I don't work here. I was just checking the rats.
Then fine. Check the rabbits so my son can pick one.
I can't do that. It's not my job and I know nothing about them.
I want to see you fired. Refusing to help a customer. This is unacceptable.
About now is when the other employee, we'll call her Tara, comes out. She was wearing a different color from Jay.
Is everything okay here, Jay? Are you the manager? I want this girl fired. She refused to help me. She doesn't work here, miss. Is there something I could help you with? My son wants to buy a rabbit, but this girl refused to help. What kind of store is this anyway?
I gesture bye to Tara and Jay whilst she is on her rant and start heading for the door.
Where do you think you're going? I want to see you get fired. Your attitude towards me was very rude.
Tara looks at me and we both sigh.
OP, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to let you go. We don't tolerate rude behavior towards customers.
Realizing this is the only way it'll be sorted.
What? No! I love working here! I'm sorry, but this was unacceptable. You have been a good employee until now. Thank you for working with us.
I pretend to look sad and walk out. A couple of days later, I went back in and Jay was on the tills again. I asked him what happened after I left, and he told me that she was unimpressed with how we treated her, so she will find somewhere else to get her son a rabbit. The store holds the right to decide if someone can purchase an animal, and I doubt they would have let her anyway. That's actually a really cool relationship to have with a pet store. And rats are really cool pets. I think they're underrated. Personally, I'd prefer a bird or a dog as a pet because birds and dogs, they're great. This story's called, Not Really, but let's see if I can help. I can't believe I've been reading so many of these and just realized I have a few good ones for this. No Karens here for this one, but hopefully you'll like it anyways. Also, I apologize if this runs a bit long. I'll try to make it as short as I can without diminishing anything. I used to work as a cashier at a well-known grocery store, which includes electronics, home decor, furniture, and clothing on top of normal groceries and stuff. I don't know if it's just working in a place like that which gives you some sort of beacon to attract people to ask you for help, but it happened, and still happens, all the time. Now, me being just a naturally easygoing person and friendly, this has never bothered me, even one bit, and I'm always glad to help if I can. Two quick examples before I get to my favorite story. 1. I'm off the clock, clearly in normal clothes and at a different branch of the same store. A lady in her mid-20s approaches me with a soft,
"Excuse me, but do you work here?"
I respond with, "Well, I work for the store, just not this branch. What are you looking for though? Maybe I can help." She was looking for a bike tire pump, and I just walked with her over to the home section of the store and quickly found it. We talked the whole way there about her daughter, who was apparently a gem. Bro walks over to me as I'm browsing the children's toys looking for something for my nephew, and he's in a backwards hat, cargo shorts, the walk, you get the idea. "Hey bro, where can I find…" redacted. I don't remember now what he was after, but either way, we are currently in a store whose name is an Archer's Goal, and I was clearly not dressed to be working there. However, I had just passed by his redacted, so I led him over to it and he gave me a fist bump and a "Thanks bro." So good times. So our main event unfolds! I was visiting home for 2 weeks, crashing at my parents' place for the holidays, and had used all of my vacation for these 2 weeks, but it was totally worth it. I'm shopping at the same chain as the one I'm employed, but this time I know this place like the back of my hand. Wait, when did that get there? My mother worked at this store when my 2 sisters and I were kids. Later, both of my sisters and my older sister's husband all worked here, and it was basically the only place we ever shopped because of this. So we jump forward in time a few years or so, and I'm just here shopping. I have about a quarter of a cart full of groceries and make my way over to the produce section. There I see the elderly woman holding a cucumber inches away from her face, inspecting this bad boy like it's fine art and she's the curator. I chuckle a little to myself, but curiosity kills guys. So I ask her, "So, detective, is that the cucumber who shot Mr. Bowie?" The smile on that lady's face is the greatest joy this world will ever know. So she laughed and told me that she couldn't be sure. Her eyesight was really bad and she was legally blind. At this, I asked her if she'd like any help shopping for her groceries.
"Oh my, that'd be just so wonderful."
My heart was melting for this old lady, so hell yeah, I was gonna help her. It's then that she held out her shopping list to me, and I took it, and she wrapped her arm in mine like a real dame, boys. I asked her about her family, and she told me very excitedly about her 2 sons who had each served in the military, 1 Air Force and 1 Marine, if you're curious, and how the older one's wife was the, and I quote,
actual cutest little duck in the whole dang pond.
She asked about my family and how I got on with them, and she'd chime in with an occasional,
oh, they sound so nice,
or,
such sweet little ducks.
I'm not gonna lie, I pulled a fast one on her, and we actually walked probably 4 times the distance we needed to, since I took the long way to everything so that I could keep talking to her. Then we get to the checkout line, and we're talking about why she has to drink the nastiness, almond milk, instead of normal milk. Spoiler, deadly allergies. As we're there, a guy in a suit shows up and calls her by name and very excitedly talks to her like old friends. He asks her how her shopping has gone today, to which she says,
oh, I've had the most wonderful time talking to this young man. You be sure to give him a good raise, all right?
This is the part where I realized that the man, in fact, was the store director. He looked at me and then back at her, confused, and said,
Clara, this man doesn't work here.
She then got a little confused and asked me why I would go so far out of my way to help a complete stranger. My response, not every day you run into the actual cutest duck in the whole dang pond, but I was so glad I did. Oh, that smile again. She thanked me for everything, and I went back to my shopping as the cashier had called someone to help Claire to her car. On my way, I heard her excitedly telling the man in the suit all about her shopping trip, and it kept that huge smile on my face a little longer. I did have to start my shopping all over again since it had been a couple of hours, and they had seemingly sent my abandoned cart off to the great beyond. Worth it. What an incredibly cute and wholesome story. I know you guys will enjoy it. I've been trying to sneak wholesome posts in when I can, and this one is a good one. Thank you, OP, for being so sweet. This story's called
In Mother Russia, Karen Fires You.
Hey y'all, Scott here. For my first post, I'd like to share a little story that happened to me a few years ago. Sorry, this will take a while for background. Me, 27 male, and my family are from Russia, but moved to Germany when I was 8, and my parents have a lot of Russian friends here, so we still have a lot of contact to Russians. One friend of our family owns a pretty good Russian restaurant. It's pretty big and well visited, and on weekends there are even live musicians and a lot of dancing and so on. It's very nice, and 200 people on a Saturday is pretty normal for them. He called my mom once and asked if my sister, 18 at the time, wanted to be a waitress for this evening and earn a bit of money. My sister was happy and said yes, but she had no car or license at the time, and the restaurant was like 55 kilometers away, and my parents were out on that day. So my dad asked me if I would get her there and bring her back. I had no plans, so I said yes, but since I didn't want to bring her there and leave and come back 2 to 3 hours later to get her, I decided to wait there. The restaurant is pretty classy, so it's pretty normal for guests to go there with their best clothes on. I didn't want to look weird, so I put on my suit to bring her there. So that's the background. Sorry for this long intro. Now to the main story. It was pretty full this evening, 250 plus guests I guess, and the staff had a lot of work. Even the friend, who is a manager, makes service and works non-stop. It's loud but very entertaining. As said, the staff was very busy and I didn't want to stand in their way, so I stood aside and just enjoyed the music. The musicians do break sometimes, and one of them, let's call him Alex, had a few minutes break and came to me for a little chat. It's super loud, so we talk like in a club. How's work? What's new? Had any dates lately? Stuff like that. There was a little couch, we sat down and shared memes on the phones to each other, and relaxed a bit. Suddenly, I feel a finger on my shoulder. Enter Karen, a woman in her 50s, blue fancy dress, pearl necklace, a ton of makeup, and the typical Karen haircut. She pointed at me and waved, so I stand up and talk to her. Yeah?
Wow, if I worked like you do here, I wouldn't be surprised if I got fired. You just sit there and don't serve food like the others.
I was shocked. The staff wears red vests with the restaurant name on the back, and I was there in my usual black suit. Sorry, what? I don't work here. I got interrupted mid-sentence because Karen took her flat hand and put it in my face and turned away.
Don't you dare contradict me, street dog!
In Russian, there's a word for that, which is hard to translate, but it means like filthy, no-rights creature. It's a very rude word. The front door? She went off to the bathroom. Alex, who has seen it all, took my arm and said,
Dude, the front door? Relax, let's go outside and take a smoke. You look like you'll explode any second.
Yes, I wanted to run after her and tell her a few things, but I went outside and calmed down a bit. The manager came out and took a smoke break too and asked me what's up. Alex told him the story and the manager went crazy about it. He apologized for the guest behavior. Now the surprise? A guy standing outside nearby must have heard that and came right over.
The woman you're talking about, does she wear a fancy blue dress, pearls, etc.?
Yes. Guy looked pretty embarrassed.
That's my wife.
We were all shocked. The guy then apologized for his wife. He was completely ashamed and went back in. We all started laughing. I enjoyed the rest of the music acts, and 2 hours later, my sister and I went home. Still a funny story when I think about the poor guy married to a Russian Karen. Sorry for this insanely long story, but I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day, all. Honestly, I'm surprised with the reputation that Russians have. Basically, they're like the bold font of people. So you'd expect, some extreme Karenicity here. So I think he got off easy. Unless that word she called him was like super bad. Maybe like it's the Russian version of the C word, which I feel is like the only curse word that actually still has some weight to it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.